Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Shad.
This week we cover Netflix's One Bedroom.
Haven't you been getting my calls?
I've been busy.
When are you coming home?
I'm staying.
They put that system in a few years ago after a break-in. Don't worry. Neighborhood's a lot safer now.
I just moved here. I don't really know anyone.
What brought you to LA?
Trying to start a new life.
Missed one here. Any pets?
Nope.
You got it. We're neighbors. Hey, listen, we're having a barbecue. You should come.
Welcome.
We like to make this place feel like a real neighborhood.
And we all kind of take care of each other here.
Does the plumbing do that every night?
Do what?
So tired all the time. Do you hear that noise?
I don't hear anything very well anymore.
You think I'm crazy? What are you doing? Run! Run! Help! I need help! How could you do this? I just want to go. Please. Please, I just want to go home.
This is your home.
This isn't a Netflix original film. It just happens to be streaming on Netflix. And I wanted to throw that out there because sometimes we forget to mention where we're watching these films.
Yeah, we want to let everybody know where they're at so they know where to get a chance to watch them.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it come up on your Netflix, like, preview 5,000 times, because, you know, when things, or it's on the top 10, now that they're doing, like, top 10, what everyone is watching in the world. It's like, okay, I don't care what everyone is watching in the world.
It is interesting sometimes, though, where you're like, why is randomly, like, Clue streaming the number 3 in the world today or something, you know?
That would be pretty dope, though, if Clue was streaming.
It was, like, number on one of them one time. When I logged in, it was in the top 10, was Clue.
That's cool. The film is one of those indie films. It's a 90-minute ride.
Yeah, it is. It does move pretty quickly.
It does, and not to the point where you lose any story or anything like that. It's edited really well, and it has a really good flow to it.
I will say I was kind of put off by the cover art on Netflix. I think they could do a much better job of conveying what's going on in the movie. I mean, just the girl's face crying and it saying one bedroom. I don't know. It's not a very good cover art for... The movie is way better than that cover art, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so if you're a person that judges a book by its cover, close your eyes while you're looking and just press play.
Yeah.
Surpass the cover art, because...
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the first movie that had terrible posters and turned out to be decent.
Well, that's very true. I love when movies are categorized just like, you know, music. It's like weird genres mixed together or whatever.
Yeah.
Like pop rock, but it'll
say pop rock, country.
It's like Nirvana. You're like, I don't think that's poppy-ish or it's like Nine Inch Nails. I was thinking Nine Inch Nails, but for some reason it's the end. I just thought Nirvana. So yeah, it's just weird. It's drama, horror, thriller, which I do agree with the horror and the thriller part. Drama, I would say more, I guess, it's more suspenseful. It's definitely, so if your thing is like watching films that have like jump scares or there's like bloodbaths, this is not the film for you.
No, it's very subdued, but it's also very creepy.
It is very creepy, and you can't help but like really, I mean, there is social commentary to it. It doesn't beat you over the head with it where you're like, oh gosh, here we go. Like,
yeah.
But it's subtle-ish. But I really enjoyed the film. The acting was good. You know, you have people that have been in several different films and TV shows.
Yeah, when I was looking into it, I realized that the actor that plays Sarah's father also played the teacher in War Games, and the older actress that lives in the building, she's supposed to be like an actress who didn't quite make it in LA. She also played Matthew Broderick's mother in War Games.
Susan Davis.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird, almost 40 years later, they end up in another movie together.
That is really weird.
But probably the most recognizable person in this cast is Naomi Grossman, who was in season 2 and 4 of American Horror Story. She played in Asylum and in Freak Show.
Yes, I did not watch either one of those, so she was not recognizable to me, but she has a very strong face.
Yeah, she's very recognizable when you see her in things.
And I was like, I know I've seen this lady somewhere, but I really can't tell you where off the top of my head.
Yeah, and it's kind of strange because you're used to seeing her in the show bald, so when you see her with hair, it always kind of throws you off a little bit.
Goodness. What was your...
Well, we didn't really get into the plot of it yet.
Oh, the plot of the movie. Did we just totally... The cover didn't just tell you everything you needed to know? It's a girl who's sad about moving into this apartment that has weird figures, shadows standing in a window.
No, that didn't tell me everything about it.
No? Well, gosh, I guess we'll just, talk about that then. Sarah moves to LA. She's trying to, you're going to assume because she's moving to LA, she was living in a motel at the beginning of the film. She's either running away from something or she's trying to reinvent herself.
A little of both in this case.
Little of both. She does reinvent herself.
Yeah.
She does end up literally and figuratively running away from something.
Yeah.
So, she didn't really have to... She could have just done that at home, I guess. Whatever state she came from. I'm sure they mentioned in the movie, but I don't remember. We're going to say she came from Kansas. But, she wants to be... Unlike other films that I will be mentioning later in the If You Like This Film, You Will Also Like This Film recommendation part... my first time doing that, actually. I don't think I personally have done that before in a podcast. If unlike other films, this woman is moving to LA to become a costume designer, not an actress, which is usually the main drive for women moving to LA.
It's usually going to be an actor or maybe they're going to be a director or something, like an Urban Legend. She was going to be a horror director, Not that she was moving to LA, but
yeah,
you never see a lot of people wanting to do behind the scenes stuff that's not as glamorous as like, oh, I'm the director or I'm the producer or something like that. They're never like, like this one. They're going to be the costume designer.
Yeah, she wants to be a costume designer, which is pretty neato.
Yeah, and kind of okay, that's a reasonable kind of goal, You could get to work on movies doing costumes and that a lot easier than you would becoming an actress, probably.
Yeah, especially because she was like a temp at a law firm. So really, you're trying to become an actress, you don't really have like a 8 to 5 job. You're more of some kind of waitress or something like that, where your hours are like random,
Yeah, and you can take a week off if you need to.
Yeah, times during the day or whatever. Or you could pick shifts up or give them away or whatnot.
It's a lot easier when you're just auditioning for a costume design, because that's more of a just send us your resume kind of thing,
Yeah, or this is going to be the set time where you're, going to give us an example of whatever.
Yeah, you're going to bring something in, you're going to mail us pictures, something like that,
Yeah. So, poor Sarah... She, not to give it too much away, but she moves to this place. It's, Shad, you mentioned,
I really thought by looking at, the poster art and kind of a quick sampling of it on Netflix, when they do their little trailer, I thought it was going to be one of these typical, the girl moves into an apartment building, and it was either going to be, it was haunted, but no one would believe it was haunted. Or there was going to be a creepy, evil neighbor that no one would believe was the creepy, evil neighbor. And then it was just going to keep escalating, until at the very end, something so crazy would happen that everyone would have to believe. Because we've all seen that movie a bunch of times on VHS and DVD, the low budget kind of things where it's all kind of contained in one room and they can kind of pull that off. I've seen, even bigger budget adaptations that do things like that,
Yeah, it was definitely refreshing. I don't know why some people out there thought the film was boring and predictable, because I'm just like, okay, there's no way you predicted the end of this film. I could see where you predicted, like I did, like, okay, this is set in LA. It's going to be, like I said, like a cult or some kind of witches thing, something
because we know
like that.
Every time you go to LA, you either get involved in a cult, you get involved with witches, or you get involved with vampires. Werewolves apparently stick more to the East Coast. You rarely see the werewolves out in California.
I guess because there's like a lot of cliffs and like water.
Fog and that sort of shit
yeah,
out there.
you fall off a cliff. I mean, we know this from the other movie, which was not set in California, but you die. Like,
And the werewolves...
from the rental.
Yeah,
she
they
just
like...
fucking fell off the cliff like an idiot. If you haven't seen the film, I spoiled that part, but... I'm sorry, but that
Well,
part
you didn't say who.
That part just fucking got me.
But yeah, it's like all of them when they go to California, they always run into either vampires, witches, or a cult.
Maybe it's the fucking heat.
The werewolves don't like the heat. When they run into werewolves, they're always like out in either in New York, New Jersey, or like somewhere in like the Dakotas, Wyoming, somewhere up there where it's cold and there's a lot of forest and that.
Yes. Also, let me throw in my 2 cents on those places you specifically mentioned. If you're in like Dakota or whatever, you're in a forest, you could get buck naked and then run through and do your thing. If you're in the fucking city like New York, you get buck naked, people just fucking throw you $1. They think it's like, okay, this is New York. This is like the fucking one of those things you find like the cowboy, doing the singing on the guitar in his underwear. It's just a gimmick.
Yeah, no one pays any attention to you.
And women are allowed to show their boobs in New York. You just whip your freaking shirt off and walk around with no bra over there. So it's a crazy place. So totally, that's a perfect place for those two are the perfect places for a werewolf. California, not so much.
Yeah, in California,
which you would think they were, because it's like next to, like, you got San Francisco, you can go and it's just like happy, and like you think when I think of San Francisco, I think of like hippies and like, yeah, whatever. LA, I guess it's more, they look down at you. They're like, oh no.
Yeah, but then if you move to San Francisco, you're also likely to end up with Michael Keaton as your downstairs neighbor. That does not go well either, because those people wish they had not moved to San Francisco.
Okay, first of all, I don't think anyone probably knows what the hell movie you're talking about. I just literally saw it for the first time myself and have already completely forgotten the damn name of the movie.
Pacific Heights. Because I do have a thing for movies about creepy neighbors. That's why I looked at this one and thought, this is another creepy neighbor movie. And I like ones with the creepy neighbors, but good ones. There's so many bad ones out there, but I like a good creepy neighbor movie where you don't really know what the hell they're doing. And Michael Keaton in that movie, you have no idea what the hell he's doing through that movie.
No, you do not. You're like, okay, this is weird. And
wait, he's breeding cockroaches? What?
Why is he so mad? Like, what he mad about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good movie. Sad. It was sad a lot of the time because those people get really fucked over. Just like Sarah, who leaves her home in Kansas to move to LA to this apartment complex, which only is like $300 a month. Okay, I don't know how much it is, but it's enough for a temp to
it was very affordable for LA. Who
never literally probably worked a day in her life. She I feel like she moved out of her parents' house and came to LA because she's no spoiler alert. She's running away from her father for specific reasons, and she wants to start her life in this place. So God knows how much money she has, but she's able to afford a first, last, however many.
She's able to put all this deposit
application.
Down on this.
I'm sure that shit is mad expensive. I know it's expensive here in Florida. I'm sure it's really expensive over there, especially that. And then everyone that lives there, there's a scene. I want to say favorite scenes, but one of the scenes I thought was comical was when they're doing the welcome to the apartment complex barbecue, and they're going around, she's meeting everyone, they're like, this person is a lawyer, and this person is a doctor, and everyone had like an impressive, like high paying job or a good paying job. No one there was like, this is a waitress from Denny's, you know. Yeah. This is the girl that works at the record store three times a week.
She was clearly like the least important person there. When they're like, oh, and she's a temp at a law firm. They're like, oh, great. They didn't seem very impressed by her credentials at first.
They did not, but did they want her for her credentials? Bum, bum, bum.
Nope, they were not concerned about that.
They were not concerned. And you think it's gonna be like, oh, like it's a one person thing. Maybe it's more than one, maybe it's two people, who knows, but it's definitely, it gets wild in the movie, I have to say. Oh goodness, if you're triggered by pet deaths, there is a pet death in the film. It's obviously a fake one, so don't lose your minds. It's a prop. But still, a lot of people, even though you're watching the movie, you know, if you have a pet, like I know I wasn't crazy. I was very sad. I was like, oh no, like my kitties, you know, even though they're pains in the ass, I don't want anything bad to happen to my pets.
Yeah.
Not like that. But it had, you know, there was a lot of films that I really thought about that kind of like Rosemary's Baby, you know.
Yeah, with the neighbors, you don't know what they're up to.
Yeah, and they're up to no motherfucking good. Like, you know, and that was another thing. I mean, in that one, you know, Mia Farrow, her husband was like an actor, so he could afford to live in the fancy, and it was probably like rent controlled because it's freaking New York. Yeah,
and then it kind of reminded me too of The Sentinel, where the aspiring actor or the aspiring model moves into the apartment building.
We also covered this film.
Yes, and it's full of creepy people. Burgess Meredith having the birthday party for his cat.
Yeah, that was. I don't think we did enough posts about that film, because I would have had every post would have been the fucking picture of him with the fucking cats.
Yeah, so
birthday cats.
There's kind of a long history of horror movies with the creepy neighbors like that, and
this is definitely a modern take. You know, it's not what you think it is. Going in, you think it's one thing, and it kind of is, but it's not. It has a twist ending. It definitely kept my attention the whole time. I was not, you know, on my phone the whole time and just totally out of the film. Like, I was invested. You really feel sorry for Sarah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things of, you know, it's one of those movies where someone just makes a very innocent choice of like, hey, I'll move into this place, and then they're totally screwed. And through no fault of their own, they did nothing wrong, but they're just totally fucked by this simple choice that seemed like a good idea at the time.
It was not a good idea, Sarah.
No kidding.
You know, it's like this is a film you watch in the theater. Maybe, you know, this is like I'm going to take you back. Maybe it's like the early 1970s, you know, in a New York theater or Boston or a big city. And there's a person that's screaming at the screen, like, get out of there. Like, don't do this. Like they used to. They're throwing tomatoes, you know. That was my mom's experience when she saw Rocky Horror Picture Show. Because no one knew. They literally went in. It was like Harlem when she went, and like everyone in the theater was like, what the fuck is this bullshit? They were so mad. I'm like, first of all, Mom, how did they go to the store? Did they go to like the bodega next door and get tomatoes? Did they already come in with the tomatoes?
Because I feel like if you brought the tomatoes with you, you were already expecting a bad time. Isn't that what Mitch Hedberg He said, like, they threw tomatoes at the band. Which, why did they bring tomatoes to the show? Were they already expecting them to suck?
Maybe. You know what? It was like, I'm not going to have time after the film to go grocery shopping. I'm going to go beforehand. It's going to be cool because there's air conditioning in here. So my fruit and vegetables aren't going to spoil. But alas, I am mad upset about this situation on this film. I will throw this tomato at the screen. And that's how you get the tomato on the screen. That's my thought on that whole thing.
Must be, because I can't imagine why else you brought tomatoes to the movie. Or to the concert or anywhere else.
Or maybe you're one of those people that eat tomatoes like apples. That's an actual fucking thing. People really eat tomatoes like that.
Well, those people are psychopaths, and they need to stay away from me.
Tomatoes are delicious, and I could eat one as an apple if I... Yeah. Do I have a pickle with that I could also eat? That just sounds delicious. Now I'm hungry. I give this film 3 knives.
Yeah, I would too. I'll give it 3 knives as well. It's very well made, and there's no point, like you said, no point where you like bored and ready to start looking at your phone or anything. And maybe that's how we should rate it, is on the phone scale.
We're rating now on the phone scale. Frick the knives. It's the phone scale. How much phone time did you do?
I looked at my phone for 1 second during this movie, so great movie.
Shit. That's going to be our new podcast, guys. Follow us. It's called...
Screen Time?
Screen Time. Boom. I definitely like this idea. I think we should do. So you give it 3 knives as well?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a solid 3 knives. If you like this film, or if you've already seen the movie and you just wanted to hear what wacky shit we were going to say, which I felt like this was pretty tame for us, because we did not go bit by bit in the film.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do on this one without completely spoiling it, you know?
Yeah, I didn't want to spoil it. It's fairly new in the world of films, since there aren't that many out there anyways. And
yeah, I feel like it's okay to go bit by bit on Friday the 13th Part 3, because if you haven't seen that by now, you probably didn't really want to.
First of all, maybe you're like my sister, who literally called me the other day. I have to share this horror story, literally, with the podcast people, fans. My sister calls me. She's like, I didn't know there was another Jason movie. Jason Goes to Manhattan? I thought it was just the one where he's like in the camp. Is it just, I thought there was just one with the camp. I was like, first of all, how are you my sister? We grew up in the same household. You don't know. I was like, hey, there's like 12 fucking movies. The motherfucker went to space, okay? He went to space. How do you not know that?
He didn't stop once he went to Manhattan. He just kept going.
He just kept going. It was like Manhattan and then the fucking moon. That's my trajectory of kills. I have to go above and beyond to out of this world killings. That's what his fucking goal was. And he accomplished it. It was, not that much of an accomplishment, but he did it. So yes, that was a crazy. So maybe she's that person who just totally oblivious. Didn't even fucking know. Didn't even know. But yeah, so I
if you like this movie.
I think if you like this film, you would definitely like Rosemary's Baby. No, I'm just kidding. That's not a recommendation. You should have already seen that. Please, if you haven't, go watch Rosemary's Baby. Starry Eyes, also on Netflix. The Invitation, wink, 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 also on Netflix.
Yeah, I would say The Sentinel as well.
The Sentinel, not on Netflix.
No, but that one's available other places. It's also a pretty cheap DVD of it just about everywhere you look on that one. We got a double bill, or I'm sorry, it's a triple bill of that, The Legacy, and now there's only like 4 S's. You're dragging it out.
What if you have that like crazy vision thing where you see doubles? Then it's going to be 8 S's.
Yeah, you don't have that though, so you're fine.
You don't know what I have. I wear glasses. I can have all kinds of fucking crazy shit in my eyeballs. Thank you so much for joining us in this review of One Bedroom. Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.